What's going on, everybody? The Arid Lord is back, and welcome to another Fear the Walking Dead Season 5 review vlog, and this one is for Episode 8, the mid-season finale, entitled, Is Anybody Out There? Now, alright, well, we just got off of the Season 10 trailer for the original Walking Dead, along with a very brief, nothing really to talk about, Rick Grimes movie trailer with a helicopter flying towards a city. So, there was some interesting news coming out of Comic-Con in that regard, but then there was also a trailer for the second half of Season 5, and I said, well, they are releasing this trailer before the mid-season finale. Maybe the mid-season finale will have some major character deaths or some type of implication for what's going on in the future. Basically, there's three major events that happened in this episode, alright? That it's the way the episode's pieced together. They get on the plane and take off. They have to land the plane. And then Logan comes back and drops some information about how the second half of Season 5 is going to pan out. So, here, alright, I don't even know really where to start with this, because I'll be honest, I wasn't too happy when I saw this episode. This is basically, the past three review vlogs I've made for this show, I feel like I'm saying the same things over and over again, ever since the helicopter episode, where Althea met Isabel from the helicopter group. We had their bonding, and that was a good contained story. But after that, when I realized that Fear the Walking Dead was not touching on the helicopter group, even though, the first episode of this season, they really teased us when they found that soldier who had been impaled, and then Althea got knocked out, and she got captured. Like, you really thought that they were going to... And then the kids said that those people in the helicopter came in that, and... they've been here. Some of them have been taking down our walker traps on the road. Like, there was all this mention, and it's like what I feel about this half season, really, and what I'm trying to sum up, is that they didn't really know what they wanted to do this season. They didn't know who the villain was or what they really wanted to do. And that was evident in the fact that the kid, Annie, Dylan, Max, the kids, I'm surprised I remember their names, but the kids from that group where their parents got it sick from the radioactive zombies and died, and they hid in the treehouse, and they were very distrusting of people. It was like 2 or 3 times that they came into the fold of the group, and they were going to leave on the plane, and then they're like, no, we're going to go back to the treehouse, and then, okay, maybe we'll come back, and then, no, actually, we're going to go back. And then there was the big reveal at the end of one of the episodes, oh, they're the ones who are making the walker gut traps on the road, and I was like, who gives a crap? Like, first of all, you're going to get sick doing that, just like your freaking parents, and second of all, like, what? They weren't villains with any... Honestly, the nuclear radiation was the villain this half season. Even so, we had a villain that I thought was maybe going to be discussed, this guy Logan, and that's how they got into this whole situation, I guess. That they heard Logan on the radio, and they show that in the beginning of this episode. They hear Logan on the radio, he says he needs help, they fly off in a plane to help him. They crash the plane because I guess Althea sucks at flying. And then Logan, while they went away from the dam facility where they were holed up and living, Logan came back and took the facility only because he needed to search for something. You don't know what that is, but then at the end of the episode, I'll touch on it in a little bit, but he reveals that it's a certain something that's going to drive the plot of the second half of this season. So I thought that Logan taking over the dam again was going to be a plot point, that they'd have to negotiate, they might have to fight him, he'd run away, maybe he'd capture one of the main characters, hold him hostage. No, they didn't deal with him, they didn't deal with the helicopter group, so they dealt with the wavering decisions of a bunch of kids and the possible threat also the wavering threat of nuclear radiation in Grace, the scientist woman trying to quell the whole thing. Then they dealt with that. So, but like they never stayed on any one conflict. Like they just kept bouncing around from conflict to conflict. Like it's not like, you know, like you had the kids thing, then you had the radiation. The helicopter group was in there briefly. Logan was briefly planted in that. Like you had four potential villain, potential plot lines that were just all over the place. Not to mention Dwight coming back into the picture. You were dealing with, and then you had Salazar as well coming back into the picture. Him joining back with the group, not trusting Strand. You had a whole bunch of, there was so many plot points that I couldn't, like, they didn't have a linear way of telling it. They were just like, all right, we're going to tell this, we're going to tell this, we're going to tell this. And they just threw it, literally took paint and threw it at a paint board and said, all right, the paint board's littered with paint. That's your episode. Like the canvas that you're seeing, the random colors of green and blue and brown that are dripping down the canvas, that's the paint board that you have right now. That's your 8 episodes of this half season. And so I'm thinking to myself, like, if I'm trying to enjoy this in a linear fashion, like how does any of this, because you're diverting, like you're subverting expectations, which seems to be the big popular thing, especially with Game of fucking Thrones. But subverting my expectations, because I think for 5 episodes, all right, the helicopter group is going to be the villain. You had that cliffhanger at the end of episode 4, then it goes into the Althea Isabel episode, then Isabel flies away, and then it's like, okay, we're done with the helicopter people. It's like, well, wait, I thought you were going to deal with them. I thought they were going to be doing experiments in this place. Like, all of my prediction vlogs talked about that. I thought it would be experimentations with walkers. I thought the helicopter people would be doing something. Morgan and Alicia would be trying to figure out what it is. And then maybe they get into some type of battle. They'd be way in over their heads. And, you know, we would get clues to some of the stuff that we would learn more about in the Rick Grimes movies. And that would have been the smartest thing to do. Instead of having this plot that was all over the place, that would have been the smartest thing to do. Because all of the twists and turns in this episode, I didn't fall for them one bit. Like when Dwight and John Dory were out of range, their car broke down and the gas was getting used up and it was old and they couldn't drive the car. I was like, and then he was like, you know, June, if I don't make it, I was like, stop, you're not gonna die. There's no way Dwight just came on this show. There's no way they're going to kill you and John off. And sure enough, they find Sherry's car, which apparently Sherry is Superman. She can just fly and be anywhere she needs to be. She can go from fucking Virginia to Texas. No group, no skills, no nothing, and just somehow survive. And they take her car and they get there just in the nick of time, and then they run onto the plane and everything is okay. And then the same thing with Wendell, the cripple guy in the wheelchair. The 2 zombies just happen to come out of the woods and he can't kill them properly and he has to crawl dramatically and put the runway lights on just in time before the plane goes. It's dramatic action. And I'm okay with dramatic action as long as it makes sense in the plot. As long as it's contributing to an overall story. As long as everything's cool and vibing. There's a linear plot that I can follow that I'm invested in. Then you can do your dramatic action. Then it works. Like I'll use the original Walking Dead season 9 for dramatic action moments. Like when Daryl was waiting for the Whispers in that big building, remember? They had some dramatic moments where, Lydia and Henry share a kiss, and then Henry gets stabbed, and the dog saves Henry just in the nick of time before the Whisperer could stab him. It's like, yeah, maybe some of that stuff's a little corny when you think about it, but it was all part of this really cool action scene where they were taking away the Whisperer's biggest weapon, which was their walkers that they used to disguise themselves, and they were picking out the Whisperers one by one at the top of this building, which was an ingenious strategy. And because it was so cool, because that strategy was so cool, all these characters, you wanted them to survive, you wanted Lydia to have a better life away from the Whisperers, you were rooting for them, and so the dramatic moments, they worked. And so then when you had one of the best fight scenes in the whole series, Beta versus Daryl, I loved it. You can see my reaction video to it, literally live as I watched this, and had a ball of a time doing it. But it doesn't work here for Fear the Walking Dead. It doesn't work. This half season for me just has not worked. It's this, like, they just keep pounding the same messages into the ground over and over and over again. It's just, oh, all life is precious and we need to help people. We can do it. We have to do it more than just talking to them on a radio. We have to prove that we can help them. Oh, but we also have to help ourselves. We can't just throw caution to the wind and forget about our own well-being. We have to protect, again, this was always the problem I had with Fear the Walking Dead. It became The Walking Dead 2.0. And I realized this after the first season. As soon as when they went before the apocalypse to after the apocalypse, and they were going on Strand's boat in season 2, I was like, the whole selling point of this show being a prequel before, while Rick Grimes is in a coma, before the Walker outbreak destroys the world, that was the selling point of this show. Why did it all of a sudden change, and now we have The Walking Dead 2.0 with Travis and Madison and Alicia? Then we have it's the Rick Grimes 2.0 group. Now we have a new protagonist and characters we're gonna follow and go through this and that and this and that. And I was like, but you already have a show that's doing it well. Why are you harping upon the same themes and the same this? We know how the walkers work. We've seen wars and destruction and explosions. We've seen it all. Why are you, it seems pointless. This whole half season seemed pointless. And they had and that's the thing. They had a golden opportunity. They had a golden opportunity to do something different. And they didn't do it. They didn't do it. Why didn't they do it? They had this fucking helicopter group that's doing all of this experimentation, and Isabel even says, I can't tell you what my group's doing, but we're trying to fight for the future, and there's something in the future we're fighting for, and you don't know what it is, and we're going to learn about it in these Rick Grimes movies, only in theaters. But you could have tackled this group and not revealed. You didn't have to reveal everything, all right? Wait until the movies to do the big reveals about what this group is doing and how Rick is going to factor into it, okay? Because obviously most fans want to know that because Rick is our main protagonist we've been following since 2010. And we were just interested. Maybe this show could show us a little bit of how everything syncs up. Maybe Morgan can learn a bit about this group. Maybe one of the characters will be captured. Maybe a Fear the Walking Dead character will be captured. Maybe everyone thought that Althea might be captured and brought to the helicopter group, and maybe then she would meet Rick and she'd meet Jadis. You'd have that crossover. That'd be cool. Nope, they didn't do anything like that. They didn't do anything like that at all. They just kept it safe. They played it safe. Nobody even died in this mid-season finale. I mean, compared to last season when Madison sacrificed herself in the mid-season finale for season 4, nobody died. Nobody died in this 8 episodes. Half of this season. There's a potential that Alicia could die because she got the walker blood on her face or whatever. I mean, she washed it off, and I guess you could assume that she's going to be fine. But I don't know, man. That's the thing. Every time I do these review vlogs, I just find myself ranting about this show. And now the new plot point, which I mentioned earlier with Logan, is them going to get gasoline. There's basically, this is it's almost like the Rockefeller days, where now these Mad Max-esque groups are trying to get monopolies on the last bits of oil so that they can power their cars. And Logan's like, if you want to help people, you have to be able to do it with your... It's like, but wait a second. We've already dealt with... Yes, we know that Fear the Walking Dead is many years after the apocalypse, and gasoline would naturally break down and degrade, as John Dory and Dwight notice when they take that car from the used car lot. Yes, that makes sense logically. However, in the other show that you guys have, the original Walking Dead, if you recall, in the beginning of season 9, when those first few episodes that Rick Grimes is still there before he gets taken on the helicopter, they deal with all of these things 2 years after the war with Negan. They deal with all of this shit. They have horses. They're more heavily reliant on horses. Daryl has a bike that runs on corn fuel. Like, they used the corn fuel. The sanctuary had all those cornfields, and they degrade it down and they make the corn fuel. Like, we already have gone into, and it wasn't the plot of an entire half of a season. We've already dealt with how fuel and like how a society adjusts into this medieval, like now it's medieval, and how the original Walking Dead, now 6 years later, how they're operating their society. It's a very medieval kind of structure they're going into here with, you got like those shields and the way they do things. It's the horses and, wind power, water power. So now this half season of Fear the Walking Dead is focusing on a plot point that was so simply and efficiently covered with one or two camera shots in the original, like the season 9 of The Walking Dead. Those first few episodes when you see how Civilization, how Alexandria, Hilltop Kingdom, how they've been operating since defeating Negan and the Saviors. Once we had those scenes and we saw the transition with, Rick on the horses, Maggie on the horses, people used horses. There was an episode, they literally went to the Smithsonian Museum and got that old horse buggy cart. And that was a plot point for that first opening episode, where Ezekiel almost fell through the floor. Like, they've dealt with making up for the fact that cars are no longer readily available. Now they're finding alternatives. We have already dealt with this. I don't know why there's a half a season now focused on, we're going to get the oil so we can help people, and I hope these bandit people who we don't really know, hope they don't get it, and I'm Logan, and maybe I'll help you guys or not, but, I want that oil one way or another. And now you have so many characters. You have all these kids from that were rescued, and there's just not going to be enough screen time for everybody, so people are going to get sidelined. You're going to have the bottle episodes, and they're going to milk this gasoline plot line. And this show got renewed for season 6. This show got renewed for a 6th season. And for what? What? I don't know how you end this series. I really don't. They're just meandering around a post-apocalyptic wasteland. I don't know how you end this series. I really don't. At least with the original Walking Dead, the comic is finished, and the original show can take it through the Whisper storyline, the Commonwealth storyline, and then it's going to be tricky because Rick isn't there for your big punctual death that ended the comics, so they're going to have to do something different there. But in terms of Fear, I don't know thank God the original Walking Dead has Robert Kirkman's comics to go off of, because it's very clear that without that extra direction, that it's lost. Fear the Walking Dead is totally lost. They're making this shit up. The new showrunners, and I just don't like it. And it's unfortunate because it takes away from some great acting performances from some of the actors on the show, and it's hard for me to enjoy it when the plot is constantly pointless. It's constantly pointless, and I'm constantly falling asleep. It's not even my priority. 9 o'clock on a Sunday. Normally for The Walking Dead, I'd be shut the doors, dim the lights, grab the popcorn, I'm ready. But for Fear the Walking Dead, I'm I could miss it and then watch it just tomorrow morning on my, just while I'm eating lunch, and just kind of snooze off. All right, they got the plane. All right, they took off. There's a little bit. All right, at least they were going to land the plane. There's no way they were going to crash the plane again. All right, Logan came back. Okay, they want to get gasoline. All right, okay, episode done. Whoa, oh shit. Okay, wow, I'm finished with the episode. All right. It pains me because I didn't do this last year for Fear the Walking Dead, and I wanted to give this 5th season a chance. Especially, they tricked me. They did. They made me think that they were going to deal with the helicopter group and it would sync up with Rick Grimes. Whatever happened to Scott Gimple's stupid prediction that we would encounter a walker that would change how we looked at walkers for this series moving forward? Didn't he say that? I made a vlog about that a month or two ago. Whatever happened to that shit? Was he referring to the radioactive walkers? was that it? Or have we yet to see that Walker yet? Or do we have to finish the rest of season 5, the rest of the half, in order to see what that Walker is? Because I don't understand. I don't understand what the hell. You know, we know that the helicopter group and the whispers and all of the stuff happening in the Walking Dead movies and the original show are far better and more interesting than anything going on in Fear the Walking Dead. It's like Fear the Walking Dead is still learning how to draw a circle. Meanwhile, the Walking Dead in the movies have already made the statue of David, and they're literally painting the Sistine fucking Chapel, okay? In terms of a metaphor, that's a great one I can give you, because like they're dealing with such frivolous, meaningless things. Meanwhile, the other show is going to new heights. You know, Rick is captured by this scientific group that's trying to create a new world order or experiment, turn people into super soldiers, whatever craziness they're trying to do. And then you have the whispers from the comics, you know, this very brutal villains with Samantha Morton and Ryan Hurst, amazing actors playing these villains. It's cool stuff, and then you get to Fear, and it's like, oh, radioactive zombies, and you know, these kids are making roadblocks, and this old guy took this facility while we weren't looking. It's pointless shit. And for anyone who knows the Walking Dead universe, it's a disappointment. It's an utter disappointment. So that's my rant about it. I don't even know for like the rest of the half of season 5. I don't know if I'm going to be doing these for the rest of the season of season 5. Honestly, I'm serious that it turned me off this much. And I don't even know what to give this. Like, what? Like a 5? I'll give this a 5. I'll give it right down the middle. It was so-so. It was whatever. Like, I'll give some of the character moments credit, but there was nothing plot-wise to be excited about. It was predictable as fuck. And it's honestly an embarrassment, really. I just don't know. I don't know what the heck they're trying to do. And I don't know who's making these decisions for this. Is it Gimple? Is it Kirkman? I don't know who's doing it. Or the other showrunner. I don't even know the guy's name who's the main showrunner for this fucking Fear the Walking Dead. But it's, you know, you look at Angela Kang and all the great stuff she's doing with The Walking Dead. Then you look at this show and you're like, one's going up, one's going down, okay? And we were pessimistic about where The Walking Dead was going, but we never thought it would get this bad where Fear the Walking Dead is going, okay? And I'm just happy that Walking Dead is amazing because of Angela Kang. And I cannot wait till October 6th when I can get back to the reaction videos and the review vlogs that I do for the original show, because that's what drives my fans and my content. And I tried to jump into this because it's also The Walking Dead, but now I'm just left disappointed. And I don't know what else to say, and I really don't know if I'm going to do any more of these review vlogs for the remainder of this season, you know? Again, it's nothing against Lenny James or Austin Emilio or any of the other actors are on Fear the Walking Dead. I feel bad. They all have talent, and it's being squandered with this stupid fucking storyline. It just is. So anyway, guys, that's about it for me. Let me know what you think. I put rant in the title because I need to let you guys know that this isn't a standard review. It's me absolutely pissed off at where this freaking show has gone downhill, and I'm just frustrated by the whole thing. So, all right, that's it from me. Thank you, guys. Peace out.